welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know me, my name is Emily and I am the maker behind Magnus May Crochet. In today's video, we are going to be recapping my first market of 2025, which, if you're a returning crochet friend and have been following along on the journey thus far, this is the market that we have been prepping for the past few videos. And if you're a new friend here, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at the links in the description below. And with that said, let's see how our market prepping paid off. This is my second year doing this market, which is actually an annual festival. It is a very popular two-day event that happens every September and has live music, food trucks, kids activities, in addition to having a very large craft market. A lot of the bands that are performing at this event have a large following, so there are people that definitely come and plan to stay for the entire day. This market also takes place in a very popular tourist area, which really helps to drive in a lot of foot traffic as well. There were a little over 150 craft vendors at the market this year, so it was definitely really large. As I'll talk about a little later, I definitely did not have any time to walk around this market and check out the other vendors like I did in previous years. I do know there was at least one other Amigurumi vendor there because I could see her booth from where I was stationed, but I don't think there were too many others at the fair. This is a juried craft fair, so they are usually pretty good about limiting the number of vendors selling the same or really similar products. This festival is also for a really great cause. It helps to raise money for scholarships that go to graduating high school seniors. In total, I brought 109 plushies to this market, which were valued at $3,249. I will include all of the pattern information for these plushies in the description below in case you want to make any of them for your markets. So for the full breakdown of the inventory that I brought, I had one Alex the Alligator, and he was priced at $30. One Anchor the Octopus, priced at $150. Two axolotls for $45. 5 baby dragons, priced at $30. 3 beluga whales, priced at $25. 4 blossom turtles, priced at $35. 1 butterfly dragon, priced at $65. 3 clownfish, priced at $18. 6 crabs, priced at $20. 1 dessert plushie, priced at $80. And this was actually, if you follow me on TikTok or Instagram, you might already know this, but this is not like a specific pattern. It was a pattern, which I will link the pattern below for, I think it's called like a mossy plesiosaurus pattern, and it wasn't coming out right. I just picked the total wrong colors for it because I was trying to use yarn that I already had in my stash and it just did not work out. So I basically threw together some like white fluffy yarn for like icing and then added some like sprinkles to it to make it look like it had like icing or ice cream dripping off of him. So that's why I call it a dessert plushie. But that's not the actual pattern. It was more of like a crochet fail that I tried to turn into a success. So back to our inventory, I also brought 3 elephants priced at $30, 2 flamingos priced at $20, 1 flower dragon priced at $65, 1 flower plushie for $80, and this actually is the correct pattern. I did not mess this one up and go off script. This was actually what the pattern was supposed to look like. I brought 4 foxes, priced at $30. 1 harbor seal, priced at $25. 1 Henrietta the hippo for $25. 1 regular hippo, also for $25. 1 jumbo dragon for $100. 1 kangaroo for $30. 3 lions, also for $30. 1 Minnie the anchor the octopus for $40. 3 monkeys, priced at $30. 2 owls, priced at $25. 1 large snowy owl, and he was priced at $50. He also has hand-painted safety eyes that I bought from 3J's Handcrafts, and these ones glow in the dark. I did put a sign up in front of him that said like my eyes glow in the dark, but people really didn't notice that as much. I really thought that that would draw people in and that people would comment on the fact that his eyes glowed in the dark a lot more, but they really didn't. I don't know if they were just like interested in other plushies, or maybe the sign just wasn't large enough, or it was just a chalk sign that I already had, so it could have blended in with kind of the colorful display. But yeah, that really surprised me that not a lot of people really noticed that or commented on it. I also brought 2 penguins, priced at $25. 1 polar bear, priced at $30. 5 rays for $20. 2 seals, also for $20. 4 sharks for $25. 3 sloths for $20. 6 snakes for $20. 6 squids for $35. These also didn't get a lot of attention, which again really surprised me because they were one of my faves when I did them. I just thought maybe because when I took pictures of them for myself, they were like all lined up together versus kind of spread out on the booth. But I don't know, I just thought they looked so cute when I first did them all up. But yeah, they were not super popular. They didn't get as much attention as I was anticipating. So we also had at this market 1 sunflower turtle for $35, 1 tiger for $30, 5 regular turtles for $30. And if you've been following along, these are no longer called speckled turtles because the variegated yarn that I used for the shells when I called them speckled turtles, Michaels has since discontinued them. So we have switched over to using the Premier Basics chenille tie-dye line for the shells, but it doesn't look super speckly, so I'm just calling them regular turtles now. They don't get a special name anymore, which is kind of sad, but they still look super cute, so I'm still very happy with them. I also had 1 tweed Rosie the rabbit for $35, 1 unicorn for $30, 3 whales, also $30, 2 donuts for $15. I had 1 zebra donut and 1 tiger donut. I did want to make more variety of the donuts, but there just was not enough time. I had 4 mini flamingos for $15, 2 dino loveys for $20, 2 elephant loveys, also $20, 2 monkey loveys for $20, 2 unicorn loveys for $20, and 1 dragon lovey, also $20. So just to recap, in total we had 109 plushies, which was a total value of $3,249. So like I mentioned, this was my second year as a vendor at this market. It is a very popular market. People definitely plan to come to it every single year. Last year when I was a vendor, we had a very nice steady stream of traffic the entire weekend, but not so much that it really got overwhelming. This year we were in a very similar location to last year. We were in the back towards the live music and the food trucks, and I thought last year that was a great area to be in because most people that are staying for a few hours or even the entire day are hanging out in that area. They're listening to the music, they're getting lunch or dinner at the food trucks. So it's where a lot of people that are staying long-term hang out, and if they're bored or the kids get bored, they tend to walk around the aisles that are closer to the music. We were a little further back this year than last year. We were essentially the very back corner of this market, which I heard a number of vendors around me kind of complaining about at the beginning of the market, saying that no one ever comes back here. But I don't know if that was different in previous years versus this year, but I can attest to the fact that this year it was packed. There were tons of people coming into the booth all day long, both days of this market. For the entire market, my booth was basically packed. I barely had time to breathe. I got the few photos and videos that I shared with you a few minutes ago of the booth each morning, and I would occasionally have a few seconds to come out and kind of rearrange the booth and pull some new plushies out from below the tables to kind of replenish. But outside of that, it was pretty much go, go, go the entire weekend. One thing that I do think really helped with this particular location is the vendor who was next to me on the side where the most traffic is coming from actually didn't show up to the market. So there was an empty space next to me, essentially giving me a corner location almost. So with my tent walls up, you could see inside my booth and what products I was selling from the very front of the aisle, and also from just different angles around that back area. Whereas I'm not sure you would have been able to see me as well if there had been another tent right beside me. We also had really great weather. There was no rain, there was very little wind, though my large snowy owl did try and take flight a few times. It is a very large open field, so when you get there in the morning, there is a ton of dew coating the outside of the tent and the tent walls, which can be a little bit annoying, especially on the first day where you don't really want to take the walls completely off because you need to put them back up for the overnight. So I usually just roll up the sides of the tent, which still has some of the water dripping down, and you have to keep the tables a little further in until that kind of dries off in the sun. But the second day, it's not really a concern because you can just take the walls off, and there was a fence right nearby that we were able to hang them up to dry, and they dried super fast. So it's really only annoying on the first day. And now for probably the most exciting part of these market recap videos, the results. And since this was a 2-day market, I will break down the results for day 1, day 2, and then our total results for the entire market. So on our first day, we sold 1 Anchor the Octopus. Yes, we did indeed sell our largest and most expensive plushie on our first day, and it was not very far into the market. This octopus sold pretty early, which was really surprising because I did not expect him to sell at all, given that he is very high priced, but he sold pretty quickly. So that does mean that if I want my booth to look the way it did at this market for the rest of the season, which I do because I really liked how the octopus kind of grabbed hold of some of the crates, I will have to be making another Anchor the Octopus. So stay tuned because that's probably going to be a future video. And I still have to decide if I want to make him in the same colors, or I have the same kind of yarn that I used for him in more of like ocean colors, like a darker blue and like a navy. So I'm still debating. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you have an opinion on that. So that was probably our most exciting sale because it was our largest, highest priced item. But we still have a lot of other plushies that we sold to recap together. Starting with, we had 2 baby dragons sell that first day, 1 beluga whale, 1 blossom turtle, 1 clownfish, 2 crabs, 1 flower dragon, and this was actually the first item that sold of the day and is also another one of our larger items. So I was very surprised from the get-go of how well this market was going because the first item I sold was one of my like 4 or 5 largest items. We also sold 1 kangaroo. We sold our mini Anchor the octopus as well. And this was cute. The woman that bought it is going to use it as a nursery decoration. And I just think the colors for this are so perfect for a nursery. We sold 1 monkey, 2 penguins. As always, penguins flew off the shelf, very popular. I, again, wish I could make more of them. They're just so time consuming that I only ever seem to get 2 or 3 done. 1 polar bear, 2 rays, 2 seals, 1 shark, 1 sloth, 6 snakes. These are so popular. These also really fly off the shelves, as I'll talk about more very shortly. We also sold 1 tiger, 1 turtle, 1 unicorn, and this was just so cute. I will share a story about this one as well. There was this little girl that came into the booth. She was maybe 3 or 4. She was adorable. She had to have been there for 20-30 minutes. She was looking at every single plushie there was, debating which one that she wanted. And her parents were so nice, and they did not rush her at all. They kept telling her, take your time. And it was the cutest thing. And when she finally decided on the unicorn, she was so excited. She held him up. She was hugging him on the way up to check out. It was probably the cutest thing that happened the entire weekend. Getting back to our results, we also sold 1 whale, 1 donut, 4 mini flamingos, 2 dino loveys, 2 elephant loveys, 2 monkey loveys, and 2 unicorn loveys. So our total sales for day 1 were 44 plushies. So for our day 2 sales, we sold 1 axolotl. We sold our teal axolotl here. 3 baby dragons, 1 beluga whale. So that's a total of 2 belugas that sold at this market. And I'm so excited to see them getting some love because I think I had 4 belugas all throughout my markets last year and only 1 of them sold. These 2 plus the 1 that remains were all left over from last year. So I'm so excited to see them getting some love and 2 of them finding their forever homes. We also sold 1 blossom turtle, 4 crabs, 1 flower plushie. So that's 3 of our larger items that did sell at this market, which is just crazy. I'm still in shock about it. We also sold 1 harbor seal, 1 monkey, 2 owls, 3 rays, 1 shark, 1 sloth, 2 squid. As I said, these did not get noticed as much. I really thought all 6 of these were gonna like fly off the shelves because I just love them so much with their like little glitter eyes. But yeah, really didn't get a lot of notice until a lot of things were gone and they were kind of one of the few remaining plushies. So they sold at the very tail end of the second day. We had 1 sunflower turtle sell, 2 regular turtles sell, 1 donut, and lastly we had our 1 dragon lovey sell, which I'm so excited about. This was one that I did last year, and I wasn't 100% sure that I picked super great colors for it. I don't know, there was something about this dragon lovey that was like bothering me, and I wasn't even gonna bring it to my markets, but my friend really loved her, and she convinced me to just bring the lovey with me to the markets last year, and I did. And then she didn't sell, she came home with me, and I wasn't sure about bringing her this year either, but I decided, you know, why not? It's better than her just hanging around my apartment with nothing to do. She might find her home, and she did indeed find her forever home. So shout out to my friend, because she was right, and somebody did love her and take her home. So in total for day 2, we sold 28 plushies. So not as many as yesterday, but the day was still very busy, and we still did a decent amount of sales on day 2, which is historically usually the slower day, but it did not feel that way, I can tell you. So for our total market results across both days, we sold 72 plushies, which generated $2,097.27 in sales. I paid $123.45 in sales tax, $42.29 in credit card fees. My booth fee for this event was $205, and that gives us a total of $1,726.53 for this market. And just to note, that total is prior to the cost of materials, so I haven't deducted from that number the cost of the yarn, the fiber fill, the safety eyes, etc. That is really hard for me to calculate for each individual plushie, so I calculate supplies, cost, expenses at the end of the year based on everything that I used in total to be as accurate as possible there. So this was obviously a very successful market, much more so than I was expecting, which is amazing. We do have a lot to restock for our next market, including quite a few larger plushies, but that's not a bad problem to have. This market was my favorite market last year, and I don't want to call it too early because this is my first market of 2025, but I do think that this is probably going to be my favorite market of this year as well. It just has such a fun, relaxing vibe to it. The live music is great. Everyone is so nice, from the coordinators to the other vendors to the customers. I wasn't even near all of my vendor friends from last year this time around, and I still had such an amazing time. So I really just love doing this event. So now for our best sellers at this event. There were quite a number of plushies this time around, as you probably noticed, that did sell out completely. I based the best sellers on the ones that sold out that I brought the most of to this market. And with that said, the by far #1 bestseller that I had at this market was my snakes, which I used the Parfait Chunky Fruit yarn for, so I was calling them fruit snakes. And all 6 of these obviously sold, as we saw in our results section, but they were by far the most commented on, the most picked up plushies, in addition to obviously selling the most as well. People really loved these. I had people coming into the booth asking about the snakes after they had already sold out, either people that had come before and then wanted to walk around before deciding, as well as people who just saw people carrying the snakes around and asked where they got them from. So this was by far the most popular item that I had From adults to kids, everybody loved the snakes. My mom has this theory, and I think she's probably right, that it's because you can kind of do a lot with them. I had a girl, a teenager, who wore her snake around her neck. So you can like move them around, coil them, uncoil them, and do a lot more with them than you can with some of the other plushies. So I think my mom's right that that's probably why they're so popular. But if you're looking for a really good bestseller item, I would 10 out of 10 recommend these snakes. I also actually had one custom order come out of this fair as well, and it was for a banana snake. So technically 7 snakes, I guess, came out of this market, but I'm only counting 6 because that is what I brought to the market. While the snakes were obviously our most popular item, we did have a few other bestsellers from this market. Our crabs were a big bestseller. All 6 of those sold. All 5 baby dragons sold. And this is not the first time that the crabs and the baby dragons have been on the bestsellers list. I think this might, in fact, I should have looked this up beforehand, but I think this might be the 4th time that they are on the bestsellers list. So these 2 plushies might be on a 4 for 4 in terms of bestsellers. So if you are looking for popular items to bring to your markets, I would recommend crabs and baby dragons as well. I will forewarn that they are very sewing intensive projects, in particular the dragons. So just know you aren't going to be able to bang out like 20 of each of those for your markets. But if you are looking for some plushies that are a little bit larger and you can maybe charge a little bit more for, these are really great options. And our final bestsellers from this market were our rays and our loveys. And I'm kind of sad about the rays because the yarn that I use for them has since been discontinued by Michaels. I haven't quite found a replacement for that yarn yet that I like to make rays out of. And we are on our last skein of the yarn that I use for the rays. So these are very popular items and I would recommend them, but I don't know how much longer they're going to be on my bestsellers list because until I find a replacement yarn, there's not going to be too many of them able to be made anymore for my inventory purposes. And like I said, the loveys were also very popular. These are always items that I have with crocheted eyes versus safety eyes, which I do think makes them very popular because there are a lot of people that come in looking for plushies that don't have safety eyes on them. So that's all for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching and joining as I recount my first market of 2025. And for all of your support over the past few weeks as I've been market prepping for this market. You all definitely kept me accountable and I really enjoyed filming my market prep experience for the first time to share with all of you. And I'm excited to continue doing that for my next market, which is coming up on November 1st. As you can probably tell from this market recap video, we have a lot of plushies to restock for that market. So you can expect a lot of market prep content coming your way. And we will be getting started on that in next week's video. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at the links in the description. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.